This kind of hit me earlier today. I'm kind of getting to a point where you have to forgive my voice. I had a wrestling match yesterday, and a lot of yelling happened. It hit me, not necessarily hit me, but I'm getting to a point where I'm kind of bored with Madden a little bit. So I want to try to do some, more unique things. And 3-3-5 defense that I actually learned in real life while I was at a postgraduate prep school, which is kind of like what a junior college would do, only we don't lose eligibility with players. Um, but anyway, the guy learned it from uh, his time in college, who learned it from the 3-5 original guru, who was the old defense coordinator at Mississippi State back in the 90s. Really, the only big team that I know of that runs this right now in college would be West Virginia, and even they have kind of deviated from it in recent years. But a true blue 3-3-5 is an interesting defense. So first, the big thing to talk about is the personnel. I went with the Rams as my personnel group. I was going to use it in the franchise mode I'm in because I have a couple of really good defense tackles, and they really almost are perfectly built. They're basically missing a safety. Um, but for whatever reason, Madden won't allow two controllers on one franchise in the practice mode. So, but anyway, so basically, your D line, you're basically looking for, Aaron Donalds. And I know everybody's technically looking for an Aaron Donald, but um, you want a guy that they're almost more like 3-4 defensive ends. You don't necessarily want them to be speed guys. Every now and again, I mean, you can throw in a speed package, but for the most part, you're trying to find guys that can are tough run defenders, because in real life, the way that we ran it in life, we did a lot of slants, so it wasn't so much eating double teams. But West Virginia will have it where those guys will eat a lot of double teams because they'll be in a 4-eye as opposed to a 5 like they are in Madden. So you can get away with it a little bit more in Madden, having a little bit lighter guys. But I would think 3-4 defensive ends, uh, for defensive line purposes, would be what I would be under in my franchise. We have different rules as far as a player can be at what position based on height and weight. So, and I think I could possibly work around some of it if the commission would allow it. And talking to you, Brandon, because you guys are going to be the lead, would be the lead that I would at least attempt it in, maybe for a season, and just see how it goes. But your defensive line, you want more to be 3-4 defensive line type. You want two guys out here that can rush the passer, but it's not a necessity. But it's really nice to have your ends be able to rush. Your nose, you want it to be a house. He'll eat more double teams than anybody else, in Madden at least. So you want him to at least kind of anchor you. Now, your linebackers are really interesting. In live terminology, the two outside backers, I actually call ends. Now, these outside guys that we would call ends, I call tackles, and then I have a nose. So I have tackle, nose, tackle, end, end. Okay? And the reason for that is just so is to try to leave confusion, especially when we call our stunts. For example, if I have a eat call, because we'll line up in something that looks more like this, and this will be like a over under front, but we'll get to that in just a minute. But it kind of helps alleviate some confusion about left linebacker or right linebacker. No, it's just left dog, or I'm sorry, left end, right end. So if I'm referring to the strong side end, I'm actually talking about the linebacker. Weak side end, I'm talking about the linebacker. If I'm talking about the weak side defense tackle, I'm actually talking about the defense. So that's how the terminology actually goes. And then I just have a mic. Okay, now the safeties, for my purposes and what I call them in real life, these are the dogs. These are really the guys that need to be your dog. That literally need to be your dogs. They got to be your playmakers. They have to be able to cover. They have to be able to blitz. They have to be able to stop the run. They got to be good tacklers. And how I run the defense in real life. Basically, I need three players. One, the Mike has to be a baller. He's making all the defensive calls. He's making all the adjustments. He's, in the heart of it all. So he's going to be the guy that you want to basically be your best true linebacker. These guys here in real life, it's a lot easier to, the ends. It's a lot easier to... That's weird. I think this might be sub-packaged. But it's a lot easier to designate who your rush specialist is. And you can do that now in Madden, but, it's mainly for defensive line purposes now in Madden. So, for this defense, I would straight up get rid of all sub linebackers because these three guys are basically on the field at all times unless I'm in my dime. Or I want to get a little more speed on the field, and I'll go into all that in a minute. So, just to kind of go through: tackle, nose, tackle, end, dog, Mike, dog. Okay, now, if you don't know anything about the 3-3-5, it's really actually a man press heavy scheme. Where you're blitzing all the time. The way that I've always kind of interpreted it, if I'm doing that type of scheme, I would probably base out of this cover one contain spy play or the cover one robber press and make all my adjustments from there. This is very user dependent on all the adjustments, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But my base, just to talk about the scheme, is cover 3 sky drop. That is the base. So I'll pick that, and I'll let the offense just kind of come out. Let's just do actually, traditional. Oh crap! Not messed up. Like it does, but it doesn't. Alright. So here's where we are. Okay, automatically, again, if you notice the play art, the Mike here is always going to be in a spot. Automatically, I'm going to change that to a mid-read. Just so that way he's not just literally sitting in a spot. Sometimes you want him in a spot, but alright. So, I'm not going to necessarily go over the mechanics of the cover 3, but, ideally in life, you probably have something like this, like every play. You'd never necessarily want to let the offense know what you're doing. And let me change